Middle East, or it's identical. It's completely identical. Okay, I have this feeling, and I would like to believe this, where President Trump would say, I know, work with me on this. I can't break away right away. Russia I can do a lot of good with. That's complete nonsense. But this is ridiculous. I mean, this is one where the entire world, please help me out with this, with the exception of, I don't know, maybe, well, forget NATO, but what is happening to the poor people of Palestine, it is just, I as a human being, my heart, you as a parent, when I see kids stacked up like cords of wood, and I'm thinking, well, they're doing that because because Hamas is in the underground and they have to be, and look, that is just, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I can't believe was it. But then again, I lived through Vietnam. We have a wall in Washington. If ever you want to see it, it's something. 58,000 names. You go, what the hell was this? We went over there to kill people. We still don't know why we did it. So is this any different? Did people just wake up and say, well, this is the worst thing? No, it's not. I mean, I shouldn't say thank God. Forgive me, strike me. I'm sorry for saying that. But they're doing this. We were so crazy, we went over there. 58, those were dead. Forget the maimed and the completely out of their mind. We are the worst form of species. But let's go back to Russia. Russia makes the most sense. Russia, I hope we see ultimately the complete and total extrication of the U.S. from NATO. I don't know when. Do we need NATO? NATO was there for what? To protect us from what? The Soviet Union. Last I heard, there ain't no Soviet Union. It's ridiculous. What are we doing in NATO? We are NATO.
Lionel, are you disheartened by the escalation in the Middle East when we thought things were going to calm down all over the world?
Horrible. Absolutely. It's like, what are we doing here? Put it this way. You've created a problem that there's no solution for. It's like what is the answer? There's no two-state solution. I haven't the foggiest idea of what I would do to fix it. But the first thing I would do is, listen, I hate to say this, what would Jesus do? Jesus would say, stop it! Stop! Stop! Whatever you're doing, stop. We'll get to the point. Just stop. This has to stop now. This is bizarre. Same thing with Ukraine. What did you want? Let me ask you this one. This is the best part. Could you please tell me why Ukraine is still not in NATO when that's what this is all about? What the hell were they there for? Why did NATO say, well, of course you're going to be in NATO. Come on in. Come on in. This is what it was there for. Because Putin basically said, you're not going to put a NATO country on my border. That's it. And they said, you're not going to tell us whether they're going to be in NATO or they're going to be on NATO. You're goddamn right they're going to be in NATO. Okay. When? Soon. Soon. And so they get this guy of all the people. They get Zelensky, the guy who plays his organ with his organ. This is the guy they got. Why didn't they get somebody who comes up, who talks like this? Some 6 foot, oh my God. Somebody maybe that people respect. Who's this clown? Sean, you can't write this stuff. So anyway, so Putin said, I don't know how many times, I don't want you to do this. So finally, when the military operation started, what happened? He and Zelensky were going to meet. And then your guy, Bojo, comes in and says, oh, no, you don't. It's bizarre. It is bizarre. I don't understand war. I would be the worst. It's the most ridiculous. As a human being, what am I doing? If you just want to say, look, do me a favor. Let's take all of our USAID money. I don't know if you know about that with Elon. and just say, look, we will pay all of you military folks just to go away. If we pay you, could we just stop this? Yes. Okay, let's just pay them off and be done with it. It'd be cheaper. Just pay them. Lockheed Martin, here you go. Raytheon, how much do you want? Give them the money. Whatever they want. Just shut up, shut down, and go away. We don't need you anymore. What are these wars for? What do we need an F-35 for? We're gonna go after what? Somebody in Iran with an F-35? What do we need a battle carrier battalion? What is this, a Battle of Midway? What do we have navies for? What is this? What do we, it blows my mind. So anyway, you know what Elon Musk did, because they're going after all the Teslas. You've heard about that, right?
Yeah, and the stocks come back down to $200.
Well, you know what? Now's the time to buy.
So let me just address a few points you've raised there. You're saying why do they need all? You're saying why do they need all this military stuff? Hmm? According to Adam Smith, Wealth of the Nations, and Guns, Germs, and Steel, whichever country has got the biggest military technological advancements will dominate the world until someone else comes up with some kind of innovation that puts them out of business. Mm-hmm. And then you said about the Middle East, Yemen, etc. So with Trump, then, in terms of political power, when it comes to war, with Middle East policy, does this suggest to you that Trump is not in charge when it comes to Middle East policy, when it comes to war? There are dark forces above him that are calling the shots. Yes. That's my question.
Yes, absolutely. Or
does that disappoint you? Does that disappoint you?
No. Or you walked into something and says, listen, you are going to make, it's going to be a while for you to extricate yourself from all of this. This is something that pre-exists you or precedes you. This is the way it is. Look, you and I are here. We are YouTubers, right? And no matter what we do, no matter what we say, we are constantly always bowing to rules and algorithms set, no matter how great we are. And we can change this slowly. But while you're here, there are certain things that he is going to have to, he can't upset the apple cart. Exactly. By the way, as they're looking at all of these JFK files, you don't think Trump's saying, I got 3 times I got this. So I'd say maybe take this a little bit easy. By the way, the great Bill Hicks, the great comedian Bill Hicks, Bill Hicks had a great line years ago. And I hate because I hate most comedians are just a waste of time. But he said something that's very good. He said years ago, I have an idea that when the president of the United States comes into office for the first time, and they show him where his desk is and where the bathroom is, somebody said, Mr. President, do you mind? Yeah, we're going to show you something. And they pull the drapes down, and they bring out an old projector, like an old 8mm, with a screen. He goes, we're going to show you something. And it's November the 22nd, 1963. From a vantage point of the assassination, from a vantage point nobody's ever seen before, almost from the point of view of the assassin. Nobody's ever seen this. And he realizes, and then they turn the lights back on. He goes, now, any questions? So as the president right now is going through this, I think he's going to be very careful that he understands his vision, but he's not going to upset the apple cart too quickly. He'll be allowed certain, Ukraine, go ahead. We all like that one. Middle East, Meanwhile, though, the irony, the country couldn't care less. Americans couldn't care less. The world, I would say, is exactly the opposite. Just spend any amount of time. So within this inertial bubble, there's this move. It's the weird. We saw with LBJ. LBJ, when he came after the, when he said, I'm not going to be the first president to lose a war. We have to stop the communists from this domino effect. They would say, what are you talking about? It's been done before. But you're right about this. If all of a sudden we disarmed, if we said, I don't want to disarm, Believe me when I tell you that. Oh, no, 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 no. But the idea of us expending, we don't even have any weapons now. If God forbid we need, rockets, and we don't have them. Speaking of which, changing the subject, how about Elon Musk? How about those 2 people or 3, whatever, in space saying, hey, remember us? And she with the Bride of Frankenstein with her hair. And she, remember us? Yeah. Oh, son of a bitch. I'm sorry. We forgot all about you. Can somebody come get us? And who did it? Elon. Elon, I'll be right there. And he does it. So I'm thinking to myself, when I meet this, I like to meet this Sunny, whatever her name is. I'm saying, can I ask you a question? Yeah. You almost gave your life for what exactly? What was this about? I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you something right now, and I know this is the most terrible thing to say. I think this space travel is some of the most stupid stuff I've ever seen in my life. It sounds great. It's wonderful. But we're like this. There we are. Here's the airlock. Yeah. Space station. Oh, we're learning all these things. What are you learning? What are you learning? Isn't it funny how they don't go past the Van Allen? They kind of stay right there. Isn't it funny how but they don't go to the moon. Why don't you go to the moon? No. But Elon Musk came along and he did it. He saved the day. And what are we doing? We're blowing his cars up and tearing up his dealers. You know what else he did, which is interesting? Elon Musk, because he's a weird guy, but I love the guy because I just don't know. He has DOGE. You know what that is? The Department of Government Efficiency. So he walked into this one place. He took a bunch of kids, like 19 years old. They look like nerds. And he said, I'm going to walk into a place. It just came off the street. And there was a place called USAID, International Development or whatever it is. And nobody knew what it was. It was Samantha Power. And her husband, of course, is Cass Sunstein, who wanted was infiltration. And one of but people always said, who is this woman? I don't know who she is. How do you go in? These people are worth like $40 million. Where do they get this money? I don't know. It's the way it is. Great investing. Okay. Well, USAID was this thing that nobody knew about. After all, who could be against USAID, USAID? Who in the hell could be against that? So Elon Musk comes in and says, we're going to start with you. And he took his nerds and all of a sudden they undid it and they said, you're not going to believe the money. This place was billions, maybe trillions of dollars. What he did, Sean, was he unlocked the source of everything. Politico to websites to MSNBC to left-wing this to Saturday Night Live, you name it. They just printed money. And it was unchecked. He went from there. Then he went to our Social Security, which is our, for pensioners or whatever you would call it in yours. Found out there were people 140 years old. Some people were older than the United States. What does this mean? The deep state, the intel state, the shadow government, the ruling class are scared shiteless. They're thinking, he found out all this money. They're shutting this one down, And the ripple effect is like I've never seen before. Because let me tell you something. Forget all of your weapons. If I get rid of all of the money that promoted all of the left-wing stuff, all of the propaganda, all this nonsense, and the music and the LGBTQ and the trans and all of this crap, if it's gone, guess what? There's nothing there anymore. You see this vacuum, and they don't know what to do. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Question from Nikki. Putin agreed to a 30-day ceasefire. After the 30 days, will he be able to do as he will?
Now, let me ask Nikki.
He's not agreed, has he?
I think he said, I agree to the concept or something like that, didn't he? Now, imagine this. You got to be something. Hey, Vlad Putin, yeah. Let me ask you a question. Yeah, what is it? I want you to agreed to a ceasefire, but I'm winning. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that does pose a problem. You see, we want you to stop. Why? Because it's wrong. Okay. But meanwhile, we're going to keep funding and fueling and arming the guy who's shooting you. But I want you to work with me because I got your best interest. But that, I'm paying for that. I think Putin would say, excuse me, Donald, yes. Are you smoking the kush? What are you, crazy? You want me to do what? I'm winning. I'm winning. What are you talking? What he wanted to curse or whatever it was. He surrounds him. He goes, all right, come on, give up. Ceasefire. I don't understand this. I really don't. I mean, I don't. So I think, and I do believe that President Trump, deep down inside, says, I know, Vlad, work with me, please. This is the biggest bunch of nonsense. I don't know what we're talking about. I look tough. You look tough. Okay. Can we work on a hockey game? Okay, we'll work on that for a while. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Leave the man alone. Do you know what we did? This was before your time. In 1962, I was 4. But we were going to go to war with Russia because they had missiles in Cuba 90 miles away.
Yep.
This is on the border. We were going to go to war with Russia because of Cuba. And we kind of understand this. That was okay for us. Actually, it was the missiles in Turkey and not Cuba. So we're pretending like we don't understand this. What if China was on the southern border in Mexico? China. And there were pockets of, we would say, oh, no, we have the Monroe Doctrine. See, I love my country, but my government is another story. We say things to you that makes no sense. We do things exactly counter to what we tell you not to do. Why? Because we're the United States. We can do whatever we want. We can do whatever we want. And there are some people who say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, you know what? That catches up with you every once in a while. We don't have to do this. We can be the good guys. We don't need to do this. People know how strong we are. They know this. We don't have to keep, the real tough guy is the quiet guy. That's the guy you got to watch out for, not the one who's braggadocious. So, I mean, I would be so terrible at this. Let me tell you what happened years ago. 2005, I think it was. In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, women, I got to be careful how we say this, women were absolutely ravaged by soldiers who were they suffered incomprehensible horrors with bayonets, stakes, spears. Women suffered fistulas. They became incontinent. They had to leave their villages or whatever because of it was the most. And I remember when I was doing a TV conference, I said, what are we doing? Help these people. Stop this. Now we use our force. Now we got to help these people. These women, this is ridiculous. Doctors were going over a fistula, sometimes after surgery, birth, but the point is they're saying, this is ridiculous. So anyway, so somebody asked me one time, what did they export? I said, what? What did they export? I think it was like chocolate or something. He goes, no. The great Gerald Salenti said, what would have been the chance of us invading Iraq if their main export was broccoli? So I said, let me get this straight. I, as a president, once said, I'm going to send over a couple of Apache helicopters. I'm going to go right to this village, and I'm going to say, if I see one person, I'm going to take all these women, and we're going to march them to a hospital, and I want you to, we're not going to do this anymore. This is easy. These are guys this is easy. We didn't do a thing. We didn't do a thing. In my country now, we have Tren de Aragua, TDA. I think they're gone now. From Venezuela. These are the baddest of the bad of the bad pouring over, and they look the other way. Sean, I know you and I they call us crazy, right? I think we're the sanest people. None of this makes any sense to me. I'm a rational person. I swear to God. None of this makes any sense. None of it. I don't understand the world. I'm not left-wing, right-wing, Republican, Democrat. I'm not Labor, Tory. I'm there. This is just common sense. This is insanity.
Freud said, as well as having a will to live, we have a death wish. And if you put that in
Thanatos.
and if you put that in the context of crowd psychology, how often do we see these world leaders just completely destroy their own countries?
Well, let me tell you what happens. Let me tell you what I want you to do a little thought experiment. I want you to imagine that somebody from another planet comes, another star system, and you get to walk around with them for a week, and you want to show them something. And you want to say, well, first of all, let me tell you, we are great individually. Sometimes, for the most part. Put us in a crowd, and we're another story. Take your little doggy, your little puppy, and all of a sudden let them run around with a bunch of other little dogs. And next thing you know, that cute little Poopa Coo or Chuka Poopa Chew, whatever these breeds, turns into this feral Cujo overnight. It doesn't, I don't know. One of the greatest experiments of all time was, and I mean this, somebody said, I'm convinced. All right, I'll make a bet with you. I can get people to cover their face, arms, legs, necks, eyes, eyelids, gums with the most hideous tattoos like that. No, you can't. Because there's always been tattoos. You know, your grandfather went to the war. He was a sailor, you know, mom, an anchor, you know, things like that. No. A tramp stamp, a cute little, no. Watch what I do. I'll make a bet with you. Overnight, I will have rational people do this. One time, I know this person whose hands were all covered in tattoos. And when she was engaged, she would do this. And nobody saw the ring because she turned this claw with cobwebs and hard luck and skulls. And I'm thinking, she said, I can't believe it. I said, you just defaced your dermal real estate. All right, make a long story short. We did this to ourselves. There are people who even have, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this very carefully, sometimes by virtue of either the melanin or the particular hue of their own skin color, you can't even see the tattoo. Like Jimmy Walker says, it's like skywriting at night. They're so crazy, they can't even see that. Because anything to go along. Social media changed our mind, but social media cameras. Okay, we're at that level. Take it a step further when it comes to geopolitical, to war, to death, to military. Put people into a group, take them to wherever your parliament is or house or Downing Street or wherever the you are. We'll send them to DC and all of a sudden this rational person like your little puppy turns into this nut who gets tattoos, who wants to fit in, who wants to show the other one, I'm tougher than you are against communism, whatever it is. I know how to make the money. I can fit in. And they lose their mind. And we sit back and we're saying, what happened? And the more people do it, like with tattoos, and I'm telling you, this showed me everything. They will do anything to fit in, no matter how insane it is. That's exactly what's happening right now. We are looking at a complete and total insanity. That's all.
Yeah, one of my favorite books is Gustave Le Bon's The Crowd,
yep.
and he said,
"That's me. Yes,
the intelligence of the crowd will fall to the lowest common denominator.
But
and people who ordinarily would behave in a certain way will behave completely in the opposite once they're under the power of the crowd." Two
things, and then we've got to, because I got to run here. But a couple of things. Number one, it sometimes the ochlocracy, which is the mob rule, mobocracy, sometimes it works in a weird way too. Because sometimes if there's a car that turns over and there's a woman who's pinned, all of a sudden people will come together and they will act in unison, and you will say, wow, that's rare, but it can work. But the problem with the crowd is I absent myself, I disassociate myself from my own particular sense of guilt or morality and let the crowd do it for me. It's just like all of a sudden, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to spend thousands of dollars. And one more thing about the tattooing, because I'm fixated on this. You are going to see the metals. You're going to see cancers. You are going to see the product of this later on when the metals in that ink, the skin was never, ever intended, because it's a great absorber, to handle 5 pounds of ink, tincture, leads, pigment. Nobody knows anything. It was never intended to be like this. Watch what happens. Oh, and the last word of the day, Ozempic and these weight loss things, get ready. There's going to be hell to pay for that. Massive weight loss, but muscle loss. Just wait. We do this to ourselves. Nobody's forcing it. They'll say, I can't wait to cover my skin. I can't wait to stick myself with this thing. And God would say to you, you're not supposed to lose weight like that. Oh, anyway. Isn't this fun?
Well, what about all the guys in prison who've done their man parts with the tattoos?
Well, I heard that about you. I heard. Rumor has it. Now,
They called me a blankie. They called me a blankie.
Rumor has it you had MITY tattooed, and then later on, during various forms of tumescence, it turned into Massachusetts Institute of Technology. But anyway, my dear friend, I must run. All the best to you and the Zigster. Always a pleasure.
Take care of your Prince Albert, my friend.
Do you have Prince Albert in a can? Well, let him out. He's suffocating. All right, my friend. All the best. Ta-ta.
Much love. Thank you.
Indeed.
Cheers. Next time. Bye-bye. What a phenomenal guest. Thank you for tuning in, folks. We have got Kate, Grooming Gang Survivor, part 3 next. And she's talking about Tommy Robinson and girls getting unalived by the grooming gang in this episode, and her own recovery. So if you watch the other 2 episodes of Kate, you get ready for the conclusion. If you've not, it's all very harrowing, folks. But it's getting shadow banned by YouTube as well. They don't want people knowing what's going on here with the GG. But Kate is going to let us know exactly what she went through and how she emerged from it and became such a strong person that she is today. So I'm going to end this one, and it's going to take you over to the next one. If it doesn't, click on the channel icon, and we will be live with Kate. Thank you for tuning in. That went really fast with Lionel, as usual. An absolute blast. Lionel's links are in the description as well. So hope to see some of you shortly.